Hi everyone, welcome to the Art Agents. We have the mighty Stan Prokopenko today. And it is a Kate Meal voucher from me, from the Virginians.
Howdy.
And we have to also congratulate Stan on 4 million views.
Woo!
That's amazing. 4 million subscribers! Subscribers!
Yeah.
Stan, how many views would that be? A trillion?
I don't know. I can.
4 million.
I don't know. I can check. It's 440 million views.
Good golly.
Yeah.
Miss
That's a
Molly.
lot of people.
4 million subscribers and 5 trillion views. And also, Stan, there's a landmark coming up for the Draftsmen, isn't there? What's that? There's a subscriber list for that too.
I think we're almost at 100,000.
100,000. I've watched every single episode. And every week, every single one, never missed one. And this was way before we met, way before I was working with you. All of this here in Australia, as far away as you can be, in a faraway land that some people even believe doesn't exist. Some people even believe that the world's flat and that there is no Australia. It's just a big ice post and we're all actors. It really does exist, and I live there. And I used to go to teach class, and we talk about the Draftsmen Podcast. Just imagine that. It was like when I was a kid watching Star Trek, and you'd meet your friends in the street or anywhere you please, and you go, "Did you see Star Trek last night? Did you see Draftsmen last night?" Now, how amazing is that?
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
You're gonna make me blush.
So, that's my total intent. You should have put rouge on, Stan, so that no one could tell. So you'll have to do that.
Well,
for
you
next
made
time.
my video so gray.
Well, I'm not the technical support here, so Rachel and Melanie will have to take the brunt of that.
I'm not
It's
sure
so
what
great
I
to-
do.
No,
It's so great to be the king. So, Stan, the Draftsman is coming back. Is that correct?
no.
I've been misled.
We got a few episodes coming up,
Yeah?
but
Can you leak anything?
it doesn't. No, we're not like coming back like for on like a regular basis or anything. When we stopped the podcast, we mentioned, I think, that we'll occasionally drop some episodes here and there. We're not like leaving forever. So we had our Kickstarter, 2 books that I'm making.
Yeah.
Yeah, one is on hand anatomy, and the other is it's just my art, my drawings. And one of the stretch goals for that was the people who fund it get to choose the next 2 episodes of the Draftsmen Podcast. So
Oh.
we did the survey. We gave them a list of several options, and we know the winners. We know the episode winners now. So is it exercises to get better or something? Shoot.
Stan, get used
Yeah.
to that feeling you got right now. Get used to
Yeah,
that.
no.
'cause
Oh, I've been used to this feeling my entire life.
that is my every morning right there. Have you gone to the fridge yet and stand there and wonder why you're standing there? Have you done that yet?
All the time.
That's coming. That's
No, I
coming.
haven't.
I found my shoes in the fridge once.
Oh, it's overcoming the intermediate plateau.
Whoa.
The intermediate plateau. Well, there's a conversation.
Yeah, it is.
And-
That's a
Let me get my
Good
head
one,
around
right?
that, Stan.
Don't
It's a
steal
brilliant
that.
one. It's a brilliant one because I'm very big on the plateau. I am very big on. I enjoy the plateau. I fear not the plateau. But what is the intermediate part of the plateau? Stan, please enlighten me.
Oh, it just means like you're not a beginner anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not advanced yet, and you're kind of
Yes.
stuck in this intermediate mode. You can't. You're not able to break out of it and go from like good to great. Like, how do you get out of that?
I'm looking forward to that.
This was from my student years. This is when I was trying to figure it out. This is me in my intermediate plateau.
Is that your intermediate plateau?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Look how great it is to be intermediate on a plateau. It's all waiting for you in the second episode of the new Draftsman, right there.
So,
It's incredible.
So would the next step be like when you start designing it more? So
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how things work. Like I was able to copy really pretty well. Like if I had a photo, I could just look and kind of like translate it over. Um, but you ask me to change anything, everything falls apart. You ask me to design, it's like, no, can't do it. So yeah, it's about understanding it to a level where you don't need to copy it one to one to make it look good. You can have an opinion about what you're seeing and then execute on the opinion in a way that looks even better than what you're looking at.
like 16-year-old kids today, whatever, coming out of high school, and they're decent, they're good, and they want to be an artist, and they're looking at schools. What kind of advice do you give to these kids today? Because it seems like the world's changed quite a bit. Like I went to university 10 years ago, and I feel like it's a completely different world now than even it was then, and then it was pretty crazy. So what kind of advice would you give to kids who are trying to learn?
There's so much.
Yeah.
So,
Go to proco.com.
well,
Yeah.
it depends on the person. See, it's like you can't really give the same advice to every single artist who's considering college because for some students, college is the answer. You go to art school, otherwise you're probably never going to do anything. Because some people really need someone else to give them that structure, right? Like that college gives you structure. That is a very important part of learning. But other people don't need anyone to give them that structure, and they're actually better at creating their own structure and figuring out for themselves which path they want to go on. You know, that was me. I hated other people telling me what to do,
Yeah,
and I would probably do very poorly in college. I'd probably get good grades, but I probably would not have come out of it as a better artist than I have become. I was better at an atelier where I had complete freedom to just pick whatever classes I want and then go home and study whatever I want. That was my ideal path. But like that's not everybody. Some people, if you just give them their own freedom to do whatever they want, they might get confused and then not do much. And that's okay. They have different strengths, right? I'm not saying that that's like they're lazy, or maybe they are lazy, but like maybe if they had college to give them the structure, then their strengths would come out and they have something that I don't or someone else doesn't. You know, it's like you just have to you got to think about it. You got to know yourself and think if you need this, and also if this college is actually good. Because a lot of kids they kind of just think of this path like you go to college, you get out, you get a job. It's like this path that everybody needs to follow. And so that's why they do it, and they don't really think much of it. But not every college is really going to give you that thing that you need. Some colleges suck. Some are really good. So do your research. You know, who's teaching there now? Are they good artists? Like, if you're signing up if you're going to a college, it doesn't matter what the name is of the college. What matters is who your instructors are going to be. Are they good? You know, if you're going to be taking a workshop from these people for 4 years, basically, is it worth it? And then also, how much does it cost?
Oh,
like, are you going to be in debt for 50 years?
That's what got me. One semester, and I was like, I'm out. I'm out.
I always see when I do my drawing basics critiques, I always see you guys in there, and I'm like, God.
Oh goodness.
Wait, which one of you is the one with the Quiznos?
The little character?
The little hamster.
Yeah, that's me.
That's okay.
Yeah, just a little guy just popping in to help.
I used to work at Quiznos. That's why I noticed that.
You were a sandwich artist?
I was an artist.
Yeah.
I am so
wow.
picky with my sandwiches now. I hate it when I get a sandwich and like everything is on one side, like all the meat is on one end, and then like all the tomatoes on the other end, and then like it's just so frustrating because I know it's not that hard to just put it all equally, you know?
So I'm just hearing this as a foreigner now. Quiznos is a sandwich gourmet chain, is it?
Gourmet
Yeah,
is...
it's not that
Like-
gourmet.
Well, we have a question from the YouTube comments
All right.
from Laura, who is one of
Oh.
Patrick's students. How did you
Hello,
discover
Laura.
Patrick, and did he live up to his reputation?
Oh, good
Oh, gosh,
God.
I don't
didn't see
remember
that coming.
anymore. Patrick, did you reach out to us or did we reach out to you?
It was a kinetic thing. Christian was reaching out to me as I was reaching out to you.
Christian,
Sounds
okay.
good. That could be a song, couldn't it? And I think I get in just before, and Christian says we were just about to call you. So it was that.
That's what he said
Yeah.
to everybody.
Does he? I thought that.
No, I'm
it
just
felt
kidding.
a bit.
I'm
It
just
felt a
kidding.
bit hollow. Hold on, Stan hasn't answered the last part of the question. Did he leave?
Oh,
did he
the
live up to
expectations?
your
Oh, yeah.
expectations?
He's
There you
one
go.
of our top selling instructors. Yeah, because I used to wear the lavaliers on the
I know
little ones that are like right in here, the little ones, and
Yeah.
record to my hip. But it was just so annoying having cables hanging off of me. So I was like, all right,
Yeah, no.
I'm just gonna get a good boom mic.
But you know what, Stan? I felt a great importance about someone micing me up. And I went, I really like this. I feel so almost like I'm on the news.
Get that up your shirt, get the
Yeah,
cable.
get that
going
up your
down.
shirt. Just stand there, and I'm so important. I
Yeah.
love being mic'd up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But when you do it for yourself, it's just like that. It's no point to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That happened. Now, Stan, I was looking at a sketch down here. And it said "troubled sketch," and I thought, did you have trouble with it? But it was actually the title. Is that correct? Of the painting.
Yeah. That's the title of the painting. My last large oil paintings that I did before I went like really all full time on the teaching stuff on YouTube. Because
Yeah.
before that, before I started making YouTube kind of work as a career, I was full time painting, trying to get, sell paintings through my agent and at a gallery, several galleries, and trying to get commissions from people. And yeah, that was my thing. And this was one of the last pieces I did. I think actually the last.
Oh wow! And how long ago was that, Stan?
Oh jeez, probably around 10 years ago.
10 years now, isn't that
Yeah.
we all seem to come to the same place, because I too am in that position where I used to paint a lot, and then I started teaching a lot, and then I really enjoyed drawing a lot. Drawing to me has become such a pleasure now that it seems like not a chore, but it's a lot of work to go back to painting, which I'm going to do because I can't let it go any longer, because I'm starting to feel 5 years since I did a painting. I may not be able to call myself a painter anymore if I continue this path. I don't know.
You don't
So I'm
miss
gonna
it?
do that. I kind of do. And that's what this podcast is about. Well, I do, yes. But
That's what
this
it's about.
Yeah, that's what
It's
this
about a lot of
podcast is.
things.
It's about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And one of those things is have a look at the price of what a New York publisher pays for a book jacket. Right now, I know what the cost is. So I was making $3,000 for a book jacket for a major company, right? So that was the ceiling, 3,000. We had Donato on the other day, and he asked for 3,500, and he said no. So it looks like 3 was the ceiling. So I was on the ceiling with $3,000 for a book jacket. Now that's the peak. That's Rock Books. That's Penguin, New York. When you come down, you can end up with $100 for a book jacket in a small publishing house. And Dave Seeley said, do the math. How long does it take to make a painting? If you're Boris Vallejo, a week, and that's at full pelt, right? And if you're Panickery, a month. I knew artists would spend 2 months on a book jacket. Do the math. You
Yeah.
cannot survive, because that would also mean you're doing a book jacket and then there's another one on your desk. You have to then seek God. other work, and there's a week gone. Do you know what I mean? And then you're
Yeah.
gonna have to quibble about sketches and get them approved, and there goes another bunch of time. It's not sustainable. So you need another stream of income. And that's what this show's about. So Stan, when you were doing the gallery stuff, was it filled with anxiety, or were you just loving the world because things were
Oh,
always fine?
it was filled with anxiety for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because you never know what's gonna sell. I'm also trying to figure out myself as an artist. Back then I was like early, mid 20s. I didn't know what I was doing, right? I didn't want a regular job, but I had to try to figure out how to make this thing work that I told my parents was gonna work.
The big promise.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I don't need to go to college. What's college for?
Now, Stan, before we go any further, how proud are they of you for making that choice? Now,
They're proud, yeah.
I bet they are. I
Yeah,
bet they
they're
are.
happy. They're happy.
And-
They're more proud
and
that I gave them 3 grand kids though.
But I was the same. I had, everyone thought I was the biggest loser on earth. They went, what
What do you mean
loser.
thought?
Here comes the loser. And especially,
Who are you talking about? Wait, who thought you were the biggest loser? What is that?
everyone in my village. I wasn't from a village, but I was
Why?
from the city.
What did you
know,
do?
I became an artist.
Oh, because you became an artist.
Yeah,
You
and
were
they
the
wouldn't
biggest
even,
loser.
Stanley wouldn't even say the word. They would say, "Are you still?" And they would make a
You
song.
still doodling?
From Tethered Pencil, he says, "Does art play a role in the happiness in your lives?"
Stan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, if it didn't, I wouldn't have pursued it,
Mhm.
right? Like I made a lot of bold decisions as like a kid trying to become an adult. All of it was based purely on just gut instinct of what I wanted. And so yeah, if it didn't make me happy, I wouldn't have chosen it. Yeah.
So
'Cause
even when you were working on things that, like when you were in the gallery space, when you were filled with anxiety, is that...
Yeah. So every career has a balance of like, I love doing this stuff, but then it comes with all this baggage that you got to deal with, right? Nothing is like this perfect, pure happiness,
Yeah, it's a deep question, actually.
Yeah,
It's
it
a deeper
is.
question
Yeah.
than it first seems.
Yeah. So parts of my day were filled with anxiety and trying to like figure stuff out, but then the part where I would sit down and paint, that I was very happy in those moments. So
Yeah.
the actual art making never really gave me anxiety. I'm always filled with like lots of energy, excitement, or extremely calm. It's like two extremes. I could be either in like the Zen mode of just super calm and meditative, or just like excited about trying to figure something out, and experiment with something that I have in my head. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really had a bad time drawing or painting. Even when things aren't working out, it's still kind of fun.
That's a linchpin right there, Stan. That's the linchpin right in the center of the podcast as well. There was no work where I came from because I was in a war zone. So everything was crumbling around. I went to London with no money. Well, I had £100. I sold everything I owned. I was worth 100. That's how I worked out what my worth was. I was worth £100.
Yeah.
And I remember being in a bed sit meant you had a sink in your room, and I could see it from the bed. I went, Patrick, you've made it. And then I almost burst into tears. And the lights went out. And I went, what has happened? And you had to put coins in the meter to get lights because it was a slumlord world. So I had 150 pence piece, and I put it turned the lights back on, and I sat and I drew a picture, and I was the happiest person in the world.
Yeah.
I believe if you've got art in your life, no matter what, you've got something incredible that you can always rely on. Always.
I think everyone's probably got an art form that they could enjoy doing. I don't like dancing. you know.
Oh, I see what you mean. You don't like the actual getting up there. Is it because you
Yeah.
feel like you're not a good dancer, or you just don't like the feeling of moving around like that?
I don't think I've ever felt the urge to express myself in that way.
Never.
You know?
Do you
Yeah.
not drink? Do you not drink alcohol?
I do.
Because
No, okay. If you give me enough, I'll do anything. Like
I have pictures of me dancing on a bar wearing a kilt and a red nose, and I don't remember the night.
Where
I don't remember.
pictures?
Where can we find these pictures?
I'll see if I can dig them out, and I don't remember that night at all. I have terrible anxiety going to the dance floor because I don't know whether you should start dancing as you're walking toward the dance floor, because there's something comical about you walk to the dance floor all serious and then start dancing. I mean, that seems idiotic to me. I think I shimmy to the dance floor and then break off.
Okay. This seems different though. So you have anxiety, but you still, for some reason, have the urge to do it. You want
I've
to
got
do
the
it.
urge to do it.
Yeah, I
think
don't.
so.
I don't have any urge to
You don't
do
have
it.
the actual
I'd
urge.
rather go over here and talk.
Yeah, just chill in the back
Yeah.
of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's me now. I do have dance anxiety now. There's no doubt about it. I don't think these feet are made for dancing like they used to be. I don't think they have the same dance rhythm to them. Any other art forms, Stan, that you recoil from?
Like I'm bad at singing, but I'll like hum to a song and
No, I can teach you to sing, Stan. I can teach you. I can teach you to
teach
sing.
me to sing.
Yeah. Just follow this. You ready?
Yeah.
Bye bye.
No, thank you.
Just low B's. Bye bye.
Buddy, bye.
There you go. You're singing. There you go.
I did
There
it.
you go. You're a nightclub singer.
I'm a great singer.
You can grab the mic. You can
You're
grab
a
the
good
mic
teacher.
after 9 weeks. Now, Stan, I think we've gone off.
We are off
Yeah.
the rails.
Of course, a little bit.
We
Of
do
course.
have
That's
another
back.
question.
We have lots more questions. We could kind of go.
Go
down.
ahead. Ask questions for Stan. I love that drawing, Stan.
Oh, thank you.
It's wonderful.
All right, I'm not
Especially
sure
that.
if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Tamirlan says, Stan, hello from Kazakhstan, following you since
Hello.
2015. I have a
Wow.
question. Have you ever explored the differences between Russian and American artists? What can each of them learn from the other?
Whoa, good question.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what is an American artist. There's so many types because you got the American illustrators, right? You got like, Rockwell and Leyendecker, like that kind of stuff. Wyeth,
Which one?
both, all three or four,
Yeah.
whatever. How many are there now that are
Three.
actually?
I think it's Jamie, NC, and who was the most successful one in the middle? That I didn't care for much.
I mean, the one that
Angela.
I enjoyed the most is NC, but
Yeah, me too.
the difference is, man, oh yeah, so I was saying, like, but there's different ones. Like we have California style art. This is more impressionistic, and then you go to the East Coast and you got New York, which is much more in European, where they're like site size method, very layered paintings. It's very different. I mean, I don't know what you would consider American. It's kind of just like a hodgepodge of a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
But Russian art, I feel like, is a lot more kind of like this one thing. Like a Russian painter when you see it, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like very obvious. And what can they learn from each other? Well, I never went to art school in Russia, but I have friends that did. And they have very different teaching styles there. And I'm not sure what's better. I'm still kind of torn. Like in Russia, they don't go up to your drawing and draw on top of it. They don't demonstrate as much. They don't, like in America, you'll have class starts and the teacher will do a demonstration and talk and show you stuff. And then you go up and you do it, and then the teacher comes and draws on top of your drawing. It's very hands-on. But in Russia, that's like the teacher's there and they just like guide you. You're driving the whole time. And I think the two extreme, something between those two is probably the best, because there's definitely advantages over to both of those. They also, one thing that it kind of stuck with me in the way they approach drawing, and it doesn't come across that way, but they always design based on what looks good, not based on what they're seeing. They're changing a lot. But you look at the Russian Academy drawings, and it looks like they copied it really well, but they changed so much.
Yeah.
They push structure, they push gesture, they'll change values completely. They'll change contrasts in areas, they'll completely obliterate details in another area. It's a lot of just feeling it, and not like, they're not judged on how accurate it is. It's like if somebody's copies it exactly, the teacher might just come by and be like, boring. Like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do here?
As they should, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in America, you copy something perfectly, it's like, oh my God, how'd you do it?
Yeah, that's the shame of the world, isn't it? That has become the gold standard, and that worries me a lot. I'm trying to break that cycle, and you broke it here nicely, Stan, with this lovely drawing, by the way.
Oh, that's my wife.
I know, she's beautiful. And you got that lovely value control over the nose and the upper lip there. That's what I'm really admiring there. And you'll get people and they'll take that upper lip and they'll put a big line across the top of it. And it just looks horrific. You know what I mean? They'll delineate the actual line. We've used the values and broke them as well for that upper lip.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm admiring there, from the nose to that upper lip. Because you've got a series of short demos that I'm looking on right now, and I think this is so important. Value control and the family of values and where to put them. I think that is it is on another level, because it's asymmetry within value. I'm just doing a love fest there, Stan, and we were talking about here that I advised Stan to put some blusher on so that we wouldn't see the blush.
Yeah.
But every once in a while we gotta love ourselves and our art a little bit to move on, and I think a lot of students are very down on themselves too, where they don't love themselves enough like they should. Enjoy your wins, I think, is a bit of good advice as well. But I'm hogging the show. What do you think, Stan? That's me just off on a...
Yeah, I agree with all that. Yeah, absolutely. I was a little bit too arrogant when I was a student.
Yeah,
Very
but we all
confident.
do that. That's in your 20s, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I was like those big boxing kangaroos. Nobody could hurt me. I was frightened of nothing. Walking empty streets, down in Brixton, London. And fearless, absolutely fearless.
Yeah. It's good. It's again, that's the
20s.
kind of stuff, like, it could be bad. And I can remember moments when that arrogance was bad for sure, but it also is really good. Like, that's the reason I didn't go to college. That's the reason I didn't go get a regular job, is because I had way too much confidence that I could do it. Yeah, if I was realistic with myself, I probably would have been like, it's probably better to just do something more for sure,
Well, Dan,
guaranteed.
Well, I'm going to define it right there, because I think of, I often ask myself, what's your strengths? Because I don't think you should ask what your weaknesses are with a loud voice. We can do that, but what's your strengths first? And I think that your strength is that, and I felt that was my strength as well, that I was a decisive person. So I had that decisiveness. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be an artist. Or as people heard it like this, I'm going to be an artist. That's how it was heard. He says, oh, well, he's lost, isn't he? There's no chance.
He's
We'll have to
crazy.
support him. We'll have to support him for the rest of his life. He's obviously going to be drawing on pavements with chalk. That's him for now. But
Well,
what would you
unfortunately,
say?
a lot of times it ends up being true, though, right? Like,
It is true.
problem.
It is true of a lot of people, but I think they're still probably happy. What's your inner core
That's a tough
strength?
question. I had like
I know.
a crazy job interview one time, and the dude asked me what my fifth dimensional ability was, and I sort of
What the
feel
hell
like
does
this
that
is
mean?
like that.
I mean, think of the puzzle that Stan had to unravel to draw that. To a person in the street, or an artist even, in walking in the academy for the first time would look at that and go, "It's impossible," and yet Stan did it, didn't you, Stan?
Yeah, actually, that was going to be my answer. So my parents are, they're both scientists. My brother also
Oh,
went into biology and computer science and all that stuff. And I found it, I don't know, I guess I found that kind of a little bit boring, but I was still good at all that stuff in school. So I think I got that side from my family. I guess that's in my genes. Just kind of
there
be
you
good
go.
at like science, engineering, puzzles, and just problem solving, understanding complex topics, and being able to um, simplify it. So I think that's partly why I enjoy teaching is because I'm able to take anatomy, which is a really complicated thing, and then break it down. First of all, understand it myself to the point where I can start playing with concepts and reorganizing them for people and present it in a way that's easy to understand. Um, but yeah, I guess that would be one
Yeah.
of my.
Yeah.
I still
So
remember
there
the
you go.
first time I saw your video. I think I started watching you at Video 1, like 10, 12 years ago, whenever that was. And I still remember the first time I saw the video of the skeleton and he turned his arm and the bones. Did
Uh-huh.
that. And then I was just like,
Oh
it
yeah.
clicked in my head. I was like, oh my god, there it is. They
Which
do
one was
cross
that?
over like that.
I turned his arm, like the pronation
To like just
supination.
pronate or whatever
Oh
the
yeah,
forearm. Yeah, I did not understand that for the longest time, and something about the way you animated it finally like clicked in my head, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. The animation part was crucial for me to do this. Otherwise, it would be not much different from the books, right? And that was the gap that I saw. I was like, it's so difficult to learn all this stuff from books. Like yeah, you can spend a long time looking at a lot of different books and putting it all together, but it is so much easier when you present it as a video. You animate the stuff, you show it from very specific angles. Um, the drawing can be you can play with time even in your drawing and show it quickly, and there's just so much you could play with video that you can't with a book, or even in live demonstrations, just because of the time. You can't squish time. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was.
Einstein might have an argument with you there, Stan.
I mean, I can't. I don't have the power.
Your super strength is in your genes. There's science and physics. This is a much more contrasty, a much more, I would say, getting close to illustrative way of
It,
drawing. And the other,
because
yeah,
it
go
was,
ahead.
yeah. This
Yeah,
was
was it?
for a magazine cover.
This was Imagine FX.
Yeah, this is for Imagine Effects cover.
That's
So
right.
I did specifically for a magazine, whereas the other ones it was a life drawing, so it was a lot quicker, more loose, and from
Yeah,
life. Yeah, this is
that's
from a reference photo. I always whenever I draw from a photo, it ends up being a lot tighter and like more.
yeah.
All aboard!
a question I wrote down earlier. How do you
Yeah.
manage your time? You have a lot of stuff going on. How do you manage your schedule?
So that answer is very different today than it was back when
Oh,
it mattered more, when I was
yeah.
building the foundation of the business and doing a lot of things on my own. Now I have so much help that I don't think my answer would apply to many people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I don't think that would help many people. I'm like, I got an assistant. You're like, cool. Um, yeah. So back then, I'm very heavy in my calendar. Where I would schedule pockets of time and make sure that I am deliberate with how I spend my time. Otherwise, if I just kind of like wake up and be like, "All right, what's going on today?" and I just like feel it out, I end up
Mhm.
I'm kind of ADD. Like I will just pick a random thing that has nothing to do with what actually matters in my life at the moment, and I will just go off on that for like a week. And then after I'm done with it, I'm like, what the hell? Why did I do that? Like that was fun, but that gets me nothing. And so I had to be very deliberate with my calendar, task lists, prioritizing. I'm just very systematic that way, where I would have like tasks and then like rate them by priority. Um, and but you also just have to get to the point where you're good at that. Um, when people start off, it's a little overwhelming. It's just like too much. So you kind of have to have baby steps and just kind of build up to being able to do that. Oh, and then also just noticing how much time you waste throughout the day
That's
is
a
really
big
important.
one.
And the word waste is different for everybody. So some things might actually be really important for people. Like right now, to me in the mornings now, I kind of forgot what they call it. It's kind of where you just like do nothing for like not nothing, but like you just kind of let your mind free for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, that's an important thing for me. But back then, when I was starting out, I would think that's such a huge waste of time.
Oh
Like,
no.
That's an interesting subject, Stan, because you're hitting the boundaries of burnout as well. And I had so many friends of mine burn out. I mean, like in their 30s. I mean,
Mhm.
that's too young to burn out. And then you're left in this charred field. And
Yeah,
where do you go from there? Do you know? So I think it's very
yeah,
important to do nothing. I think we should all give ourselves a little bit of love for at least an hour a day.
Like a
Come
healthy
on.
amount, yes.
A healthy amount,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah. I think I was lucky that I had a girlfriend very early on. My wife, she's not my wife, but we started dating. I was 18. Um, I kind of had to go out, right? I loved her, right? So I wanted to as
Yeah.
well. But if she didn't kind of force it on me, like we got to hang out a little bit more than what you're you're
Yeah.
um, initiating here, I would have just worked constantly, just
Yeah.
24/7, and that would have been really bad. But so I think I didn't burn out because I've always had her to kind of bring me back to reality. Um, but when I was not with her, I was working constantly.
Yeah.
It was just work. And so, but the thing I was gonna say about figuring out how much time you're wasting is I had a mentor back when I was younger, and he told me, all right, put every single half hour in your calendar, everything that you do. If you go to the bathroom in the morning, you brush your teeth, you do your hair, whatever. If that takes you half an hour, put it in. If you go out for a jog, put it in. If you do anything, put it in your calendar. 15-minute increments, whatever you want. Um, and then after the end of like 2 weeks of doing that, categorize it and see how much time you spend on everything. And you'll see like, damn, like if instead of this category of stuff that I did, instead if I was drawing or painting, I would paint an extra like 500 hours a year. It's like insane. And it's actually kind of crazy how much it compounds, like
Yeah.
you'll do something every day and it's like it's only an hour a day. It's like but that's like
Yeah.
365 hours a year,
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of out. Can you imagine if just like you do something for an hour a day and you replace that thing with painting?
Yeah.
Like 365 hours is a lot. And you could do that with a lot more than just 1 hour. A lot of people spend a lot more than an hour doing things that brings them no joy and no value,
Yeah.
and they should get rid of those things. I'm not saying fill as much time of your day with work. I'm saying make sure you're deliberate about what you are choosing to spend your time on. If, 6 of those hours are hanging out with your your significant other or your kids or whatever, and great, that's time well spent. But
Yeah.
if it's you on your own watching YouTube of just like
Oh,
random nothing videos, then that's probably not bringing you much value. That can be
yeah.
replaced.
I was listening to some Dave Ramsey the other day, and there's some direct correlation that they found between credit card debt and social media use. Apparently, like those two
Probably.
charts go up side by side, and I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, if you sit and think about that, I was like, wait a second, it's literally sapping your money as well, like
Yeah.
when you're doing
Do you,
that.
is it that one leads to the other, or is it that there's a specific mentality that actually has an effect on both parts of your
I
life?
think what he was going after was people who are looking at stuff online and they're like, I gotta get that, and then they start buying more.
I could see another link though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're both like really quick adrenaline. Like if you buy something on Amazon, you get that real like satisfaction for a few minutes.
One day I went through Instagram and it said you have reached your limit or something, and I was
There's a
so
limit?
Yeah,
Limit?
there was no more feed. There was no more feed, and I was so
Oh
ashamed.
damn.
The shame I felt was so deep, and that's where I realized that Instagram was my sin.
Now mine would be YouTube.
To be honest, I think YouTube is the crowning glory of the internet because there's good stuff on there. Yeah, we wanted to do congratulations for Stan because he hit 4 million subscribers on YouTube. And Stan also has a Kickstarter that I have also
Oh,
donated
that's
to.
done. That's
That's
over.
done.
Yeah, the
You can't get
Kickstarter.
that anymore? Well, use
You
lost
can't
all.
kick it anymore.
No more
I
kicks.
don't think you can. Can you?
I don't know.
I mean, we'll have them eventually up on our website, but
Well, Stan, I'm an author, as you know, and I've written 10 books now. A friend of mine has
whoa.
Yeah. Stan, you have to get a pipe now and smoke a pipe now that you're an author. If you haven't got a photograph in the back of your book with a pipe, it's not valid. That's a beautiful looking thing, Stan. I'll tell you what, I really love this little kind of tweed jacket here. You've got nice things.
Nice things. Thank
You
you.
do. And that's a lovely drawing there, by the way, just underneath. Look at that. I hope that's in the book.
It is in the book, yeah.
Look at that. Great throat canter. Superb. All right.
Show
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, I didn't do the drawing, so I'm showing off on your behalf.
We got another question here that I liked, and
Yeah.
I was thinking about it earlier. It's a different topic. Stan, what is your secret to building a good team at Proco? I can see you are such a good leader, and I've only had good experiences with everyone I've talked to from Proco, and I was sort of thinking the same thing. Like, how do you have such a good team?
Yeah.
Good question.
Oh. Well, I think lucky with the first one. Sean, I hired him like, gosh, I guess around 10 or 11 years ago, probably around 10 years ago. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I need help, I need some editor. And yeah, and he's amazing. He just such a big help, and he's just the perfect employee. And so I think I got lucky with him. But
Yeah,
then
he's really good. He's really great.
yeah, he's amazing. Occasionally you get really bad hires, and it's really important to be able to identify those early and just part ways. Like,
Stan, did you have to fire someone?
oh, I've had to fire a lot of people. Yeah.
How was that?
It's really hard. And the first like 3 times, I waited like a year. I already knew. I was like,
A nice
"This is not
guy.
gonna work."
Such a nice
You
guy.
gotta just do it.
I know. And I knew it's like, this is not gonna work. It's clearly not gonna work. This is not. They just don't fit. I'm always frustrated with them. They're just not getting it. And I would be like, but maybe I could like teach them a little more, or maybe they'll change. And it's like, a year goes by and I'm like, ah, all right, let's just do it. And I would finally just do it. And this happened like 3 times. Um,
3 times.
yeah, it's so because it's the human element. It's really hard to fire somebody, but
Yeah.
you just have to do it because and the thing that kind of you got to remember is that if you have a bad hire, if somebody on your team is really hurting the team and you're keeping them around, you're hurting the good people on your team.
It's true.
And you got to think of it that way, that you're actually hurting people
Yeah.
when you're not making the team better. Um, so that's one is just make sure everybody who's on your team is supposed to be there. Two, treat everybody who's doing a great job really well. Make sure keep people happy. And three, just be somebody that people want to follow and work for.
It's Stan's day today. This is Stan's day. So, Stan, I'm looking forward to these books. I can't wait. When will we see them? In our-
This summer. They should be in your hands by sometime in the summer.
I'll sit out the back there.
But
All
isn't
the
it
parts.
always summer there? You guys don't have snow, right? Anywhere?
Apparently it snowed in Brisbane in 1912,
Okay.
but it was
Okay.
it was just a few flakes. Apparently it's just a few flakes,
Yeah.
but it was a wonder. It was a wonder. Everyone came out to see it. But I came from the
What
frozen
happened in
north.
the air that day?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'll have to look back into it. But I come from the frozen north, so
Right.
I shrugged off a big bear coat in London that I'd been wearing for 6 months when I went to Australia, and I went, never again will this coat exist. And I dropped it at the airport and never wore a big coat ever again.
Really? You
Never
just
again.
threw it away?
I just I left it for someone because it was a really expensive coat. And it wasn't expensive because I was rich. But when you go to a city and you're poor and you meet other people like you, there's things they know. It was a secondhand shop where students could go to get one coat that they could wear all winter and look like $1,000,000. So there you go. Look, it's about me now. Stop. Is there any more
What?
questions? Is there any more questions for
Yeah, we
Stan?
have some questions we could dig through.
Yeah, Laura asked a couple questions. So her first one,
Laura's one.
Stan, is there anything you refuse to draw? He he he.
Like how
Refuse to draw. I mean, not really. Nothing I refuse. I mean, unless it's like just really inappropriate. I don't know. No. I think the question comes from like, am I like some people really don't want to draw hands because they don't know how to draw hands or something, right? Is that
Yeah.
where the question's coming from? I don't think so. I think I'm down for trying to figure out about anything. I definitely prefer figurative stuff. I really enjoy drawing faces and anatomy and stuff like that. Animals are fun too, but many of them are just covered with so much fur. It's kind of
That's right.
like I'm just drawing fur.
Stan, we're skating close to the edge. We're skating close to the edge.
Yeah.
Because here's a thing. Here's the thing. Right? We have made this our life. The figure to be worshipped like the Greeks did, like the Renaissance did. The Renaissance was basically about worshipping who we are as
Yeah.
this wonderful sculpture. I am often
Yeah.
attacked for drawing this beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And that's where we're skating close to the edge. And yet I'm not going to stop because I have said to myself, well, that's not my problem. But we are in that area. How do you navigate it, Stan?
Yeah,
How
it's
do you...
rough, man. You're people everybody's been given this a voice essentially, and everyone should have a voice. But like
Of course.
the problem is that artists now can hear everyone's voice,
Yeah.
and that hurts artists because we
Really
shouldn't
hurts.
hear everyone's voice. Like, cool, we make art, and everybody can respond to, or everyone can have a reaction to it. They've always had reactions to it throughout history, but the artist wouldn't hear most of it.
That's
And
right.
and that's totally fine. Like, you can hate someone's stuff, you can love it. But so nowadays it's very different, and we as artists need to be able to just ignore it, like you said you're doing. If you really enjoy drawing the figure as this beautiful thing, yeah, do it. Great. Kim Jong-gi is the really good example of this.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video I made of Kim
Yeah.
Jong-gi? In there he talks about this battle where he really likes drawing erotic.
Yes.
Right?
And he does.
And he enjoyed it, right? And he would get a lot of criticism about that from his team as well. I mean, just saying, mostly not about drawing that stuff, but mostly about like don't say things because it'll offend people. But they would lean into the drawings. They even had a book specifically here's just the bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
The
he
naughty
leaned into
stuff.
and some people probably hate his work for it, but enough people really admire him for it, for just like not caring that someone else has a different opinion than him, and you're just like giving in to someone else's opinion about your own work.
There it is.
I think that's important for artists to have that kind of strength.
Yeah. And it's a modern shift too, Stan, because, look at H.R. Giger. Or is it Geiger? I've heard Giger. Look at
Depends where
H.R.
you're from.
Giger. Yeah. If he was alive to death, that's
Whoa.
If it was alive to that.
he was alive to death. That's a Freudian slip. If he was alive today, he'd probably drop down dead because he would be lambasted. He would not be able to survive posting a single thing. He couldn't post a single thing. And yet he is totally lauded as one of the great artists and visionaries of the 20th century. And yet today he would be in a terrible, terrible strife from comments on the internet.
I think it's important to remember, and this is for every artist, that when you put your work out there, most people stay silent about it. Most people don't say anything, and most people have nothing bad to say about your stuff. But people that get really have like a really strong negative opinion will usually say something.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happens with like Yelp and reviews of restaurants or any kind of like local business. Like someone that has a bad review is more likely to go leave that bad review.
That's true.
Than somebody that's like, oh, that was great, cool, and then just move on, and they might recommend it to their friends, but they might not go leave like a great review.
Well, there you go. So don't feel bad about yourselves. You heard it from us. It's all that. It's all that. It's not you, it's them. That's probably a simple way to put that. Yeah. Okay, Stan, I don't want to keep you. I know you've got a busy life. You've got a wonderful family to look after and everything. Is there any parting thoughts or anything that you want to talk about before we leave?
I guess my parting words. I guess go check out my drawing basics course.
Yeah, I've been learning from it. Like, just redoing some of the stuff that, I haven't done in a decade. Just drawing a sphere. You're like, just to go back and do it again is helpful. And you learn something.
Hopefully, I add a little bit of something in there that is a fresh.
Yeah, the lessons are all really easy to follow, and definitely learn a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know that I was drawing ellipses wrong.
Yeah, I remember you had a pain for.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I just didn't. I never knew what the major axis or the minor axis. I never learned perspective until like a year ago when I started working for you, and so it's been like a whole host of knowledge. It's been helpful.
So is the angle of the ellipse on like a cylinder? Is that what it was on?
Like when you're talking, you have to like the long axis of the cylinder, and it has to be at 90 degrees to that to get the major axis where it's like, going in the right direction. I never knew that.
It's a powerful one because it's such an easy thing to remember. It's like you don't need to practice that. Like that's just like, oh, it's 90 degrees. Okay, cool. I can now do that forever.
Yeah.
It's like an instant fix. Those are great.
Yeah, and then drawing a tank to teach that, like the wheels on a vehicle is a good way to teach that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Cool.
I put my shoes in the fridge once. But you don't have to be 70 to do that. That's when I was a teenager.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
My
there's a
friend
lot
said to
going
me, yeah, my friend said to me, "You're coming out tonight." I says, "I can't find my shoes. I can't come out to the Shamrock Club." I only had one pair of shoes, and I'd polished them really nice too. And so I just settled in for the night, and I went to the fridge to get a bowl of cereal because I eat cereal at night. That's just who I am. And there was my shoes in the fridge. So I think you've got early onset there, Rachel.
Probably.
Yeah.
I got too much going on in here.
Got baked in the sun a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
It's lost.
You guys asked me about like how do you hire, right? That was one of the questions.
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah. One of the people earlier asked.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't say that, but like one of the better ways to then look for the best candidates is using your network. Because now I know so many good instructors, and among those good instructors, they're gonna know someone that may be like a good editor or a good anything, right? So just now I really tap into that network, but
Yeah.
initially I think I just got lucky because when I first started, I didn't have a network at all. I just went on Craigslist. Actually, I just put up a job post on Craigslist.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I found Sean.
Really?
Craigslist. Yeah.
I was lucky.
Look at that. That is amazing. And Sean does the video edits, doesn't he? He edits all the videos. Is that right?
Well, he doesn't edit all the videos, but
No?
back in the day when it was just me and him and then one other person, and yeah, he edited half. I would edit half. He would edit half. We would both kind of tag team it. Nowadays we have I think 7 editors.
Wow.
So he does a lot of the like managerial type stuff, final reviews, making sure everybody has a project they're working on, and the communication. He leads the meetings, all that stuff. But he also edits, but just not like that's not like his only job.
Okay.
Des Embre asked, how did you meet Marshall?
Marshall,
Yeah, that's a good question.
that was another one where that was pretty early on, where I didn't really know that many people to tap into. I was just reaching out to people online, and I believe neither one of us remembers who reached out to who, but we both at the same time were like, "Oh, hey, I should reach out to this guy." And so it was like one of us actually reached out, and the other one was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I know you. I've been watching your stuff or whatever." And we just met up for lunch because he was only like an hour away from me, and then yeah, it was love at first sight.
What did you have for lunch then? Do you remember that?
God, no, I don't remember. I don't remember. I know we went for a walk. What is it? Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. And it was like an hour and a half drive, and it was closer to where he was. And so I would stop. He was along the way, and I would stop there early. To beat traffic, I would leave like 3 or 4 hours early, and we would meet up. We would meet up and go for walks and stuff once a week while I was doing that. Yeah, but it was really just one of us reached out to the other. It really took initiative, right? Like it was something that you kind of have to like.
Yeah.
You kind of have to do. So that's important. You kind of have to build your network intentionally. It doesn't usually happen accidentally. For some people it does. Some people are born into it. But you could build it. You can build a good network.
Like Rachel and Melanie have met each other.
Yeah, we met at a restaurant we were both working at.
Yeah.
Met in a restaurant. Look at that. And they're the best of friends now. And I'm here. My best friend's my dog. Like, a space is too big. A space is too big.
Bad best friend.
Hey, it's a pretty good friend. Bit smelly, but pretty good friend.
So are you?
I'm in Brisbane.
Everyone's
Are you from Easton? Do you
They
mean
just
me?
don't bathe as often as you do.
They don't sweat though, so that they don't need it. They don't sweat. I'll tell you an interesting fact, if you don't already know it.
Uh-huh.
You can run a dog to exhaustion, even though they're faster than you, right? And it's persistence running. And that's what they do in Africa. They can outrun an antelope because the antelope sweats off its tongue. And so the tribespeople just run at a slow pace continuously. And they eventually catch up with the antelope, and then it does another run. And it can only do about 6 of those before it rolls over and says, I'm done. And that's persistence running. And I did that with a little dog that escaped, a little Maltese. It was running so fast, nobody could catch it. And I persistence ran it all the way to the park. It kept on squirreling around and running off again. And everyone tried on their bikes. People tried in their sports cars. I just kept persistence running.
You beat the sports car.
Everybody gave up. And I
The
eventually
sports car ran out of gas.
Things exploded. It was like Mad Max in the background.
Yeah, the wheels fell off.
And I got to the park, and it just rolled over and showed me its belly. And I lifted it up. And there you go, persistence running. There you go. Hope I taught people stuff there outside of the arts. Today, you can persistence run an animal until it rolls over. That's how you catch a dog. All right. Well, Stan, it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm so happy that you made time for us. I know you're so busy, and what you create and put out in the world is just sensational. It's just amazing. I am so lucky and so glad to have met you and to be part of the Proko universe, which I think is a healthy place to be, a fun place to be. I've been in your studio. And you can always sense an atmosphere of this is a nice place, and that was a nice place. Yeah. So I wish you all the best in the future with your Proko endeavors. Just briefly once I talked to Marshall, and I did an egotistical thing. I says, Marshall, do you know who I am? But it just meant, do you know who I am? In case he just thought I was just some guy. He says, oh yes. And so he didn't say it with an English accent like that. Arius. I know who you are.
But it sounds like he should, right? It looks like he should.
It felt like that. He was so well groomed. That's how I remember it. Oh, you're a nice fellow. Yes, I think I will. You know, just perchance.
Thank you for the good questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's from Rachel and Melly, the questions. Yeah. Well, I'll end it here, Stan. And I look forward to further collaborations with you in the future. Yeah. And I'll be watching the postbox for those books all summer until winter.
All summer until it's your winter. Yeah.
And I'll just sit there, and when the snow never will come, but I'll just sit there and wait for those books.
I don't have a physical copy. The pictures you see, they're all Photoshopped. That's not.
Oh, really? I remember very clearly the first day when the box comes, because with the publisher you get 10 copies. For yourself, and then the rest are, out in the world. And I remember that very day opening that box and taking that first book on. Don't forget, Stan, to give it a good smell. Give it a good sniff and smell those pages, because it'll never smell the same again. And just enjoy that moment, because it's don't have music on. Don't enjoy that moment. It's a wonderful moment when you open your first book. Don't waste it, Stan. Don't be an animal. Don't just get in there and snuffle around and tear it out. Take your time with it. Yeah. Enjoy the moment. That's my advice as a fellow author.
Are we saying the goodbyes now?
Rachel, hey, you two, we got lives here, It's
places to be.
Can we wrap it up? Is there a goodbye in San Diego that people say, a San Diegan goodbye? Because we all say goodbye.
No, there's no San Diego goodbye. We speak Californian. But I mean, in Ukraine, you could say "пока," which is just bye, or you could say "до свидания" is goodbye.
I like the first one.
"Пока."
Пока?
Yeah, it sounds more like
people are saying goodbye. It must sound like a bunch of chickens. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a chicken. Yeah, "пока." Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's a Buckeye from Stan.
"Пока." It's just P-A-K-A. "Пока."
Пока. And it's a sláinte from me, from the green homeland of Ireland, and from the Virginians.
See y'all.
See y'all. Yeah. All right.
Oh, there we go. Good Lord, we're on the moon.
All right.